Yo, good morning, dude. I'm gonna start doing some of the reviews just on camera so that we can actually talk to each other a little bit since I haven't been able to see you and we live kind of far apart. Anyway, we're doing that. We're doing that distance coaching thing. And I was watching your video this morning from your medleys and wanted to get into that a little bit. So let's just kind of dive right into it. You should be able to see what I'm seeing. I'm gonna play this and try to put the screens next to each other as I talk. So we're watching the medley. You're going through the sandbags, starting with the sandbag. Let me know what the weights are on these sandbags too in the keg, and that'll I'll tell you why in a minute. So starting with the sandbag, rolling right into the keg, nice, and then finishing with that heaviest sandbag. I'm assuming the third sandbag was the heaviest, which is why it was at the end, and the pick looked a lot harder. Um, on that last one. So, I'm assuming that those weights are appropriate, right? All right, so all in all, why don't I start with overarching, just like general impressions first? I think you did a great job. Let's just start there. No surprise there. You're pretty seasoned at this point. Let's start with the first sandbag. It's really light for you, and it looks like you're doing your best. It actually looks like you're doing your best to sit down really low with your hips and get your chest up and do a lot of that stuff. In this case, that sandbag is really low and you're really tall. I actually think that you sat down so low that you turned the sandbag pick into a squat, and it works for this really light one. And if it's comfortable for you, I don't mind. I don't take this the wrong way. I don't mind, especially with these light ones. But when you come to the heavy one, the third and last sandbag, because you're not thinking about it, because you're rolling really fast, and you need to pick this really heavy bag up really fast, instead of squatting down like this, you end up in a more comfortable position. And for you, the more comfortable position seems to be with your hips a little bit higher and your chest over the bag instead of trying to sit down into a squat like it's an Olympic lift. More like a hip hinge, more like a deadlift. Seems a lot more comfortable for you, and you're a lot stronger there. So I would recommend just get comfortable in your starting position. So instead of trying to sit down really, really hard, all I'm saying here is it's okay to let your hips come up a little bit and treat it a little bit more like a hip hinge and a deadlift, so that as you squeeze that bag into your lap, it just comes straight up instead of having to squat it up. Because the squat ends up not working with those heavy weights, and I think you'll be faster with a hip hingier deadlift style pick on that first one. Um, Other than that, though, I do like you got it. You get it really, really high on your chest, which is the most important thing for a carry. Is whatever implement you have, getting it high on the chest. So that's perfect. It lets you run really, really well. Let's talk about the keg for a second. I am interested in the weight in the keg and what it's filled with, because that'll change how this is going to work for you a little bit. You're doing the bear hug style. It's the quickest pick of any style, but I've always found that the bear hug style has a really um, low ceiling where I just can't do that with heavy kegs without like a grip shirt and all kinds of tacky and stuff. And then even then, or not tacky, a grip shirt that is tacky. And even then, it'll slip out of my forearms at heavy weights. And if you find that that's the case at heavy weights, at heavy kegs, you have trouble with this style of pick. One of the other style that I really like is just grabbing the handles, tipping the keg, and holding it sideways. So again, let me know what the weights are here, because if the weight of this keg is essentially the weight of the keg that you're going to be competing with, you might as well do the bear hug because it's faster. You can get it off the ground faster, and just like you did here, you can get it onto the loading platform really, really well. We should look at the height of the loading platform too. I'll need to refresh my memory, because if it's higher than about 30 inches or so, we'll probably need to do a load over onto that platform. So we'll figure out what's going to work best for you there. Strong pick though, I'll tell you that, especially with that style. And then your load is beautiful. You're just able to drop that thing right there. So that's fine. That's absolutely great. right here, you go into your last sandbag pick, and I'll tell you that was perfect, man. That was absolutely beautiful. So I actually prefer how you picked up the heaviest one, to be quite honest with you. So I would just say stick with that. That's my recommendation. That's my feedback for that. You know, you're still in your legs. It's not a straight deadlift, but your hips are a little higher than when you started with this one, where your hips are down really far. You're trying to look straight ahead. It's just a really hard way to pick up a sandbag that's of any significant weight. The other thing is that when you do get this guy up, this one's a little heavier, right? Looks like it's somewhere in the 200-pound range, which is pretty decent. You flip it onto your chest, which is awesome. It's gonna be the quickest thing you can do. Is you can almost like two motion it. You just kind of pick it up and go. What I would like to see you able to do is get it, instead of with your hands over the top like that and kind of paw it in like a monkey grip. Get the bag sitting on top of your gut, so it's on the, like, it's, if you feel where your abs are, it's on the top ab. So it's not all the way up on your chest, because then you can't breathe. It's just sitting on your top ab. And then get your hands around the sides instead of up and kind of like bent up. Get elbow deep on the bag there and squeeze it into your chest that way. So it'll stay in your rack a little bit better. You'll feel more secure, and you'll feel like you're able to sprint instead of having it start slipping out of your hands. The moment these start slipping out of your hands, the rest of your body responds. And there's no fault of your own or anything that even you can control. But as your grip starts to go on the bags, everything else from the shoulders down starts to change, how it's working. Your back will start to lean back. Your hips will come forward. Your feet will start to splay out, and you'll kind of end up in that waddle. And all of that slows you down a little bit compared to where you could be if you had a nice secure hold on the bag. So that'll be a nice place to pick up a few seconds and also make it all more comfortable. And comfort in these is a big deal. If it's uncomfortable, it just sucks. And we have like 12 weeks of training of carry medleys like this, and I don't want you to just hate every second of it. So it's supposed to be enjoyable to some degree or another. That's my feedback on the carry medley. So yeah, we'll keep this in. I like that you have multiple implements as well. It's great. It's exactly what we're going to be using. So that will work well. I think part of why I didn't put it in the first place is that I don't like carrying kegs. So maybe that was just my own bias. I've always tended towards putting them in later because I don't think they're quite as fun to carry and run with. They're harder. They're not as soft. They beat up my forearms a little bit more. So I put them in a little bit later. If you enjoy them, keep that up. It's a little bit more specific to the competition, so it'll be better in the long run. But just know also that if you start being like, man, this kind of sucks, I'm not really into this, there are options out there. It doesn't have to be, we don't have to do keg carries for forever. Okay, awesome. Keep up the good work. I'm still talking with Train Heroics, so hopefully that'll be up and running by the end of the week. Their IT team needs 2 to 3 day turnarounds for requests, and we are on day 2, so hopefully we get some return on that today, and then we can just do this in the app. I have a plan for the full 12 weeks. I'll probably upload them 4 weeks at a time like we've been doing, so that you can get feedback and we can see how things are going. Rather than having like a set in stone plan, we have some leeway to make adjustments as we need to. And I'm still planning on being there with you. Again, not competing, but just there to be your support, be a support piece for you. And, hold your phone for the Instagram reels or whatever else we end up needing to do for the day. I'm actually pretty excited, so that'll hopefully be a good time. And other than that, appreciate you. Having a great time working with you. It's been a lot of fun. And let me know if you need anything else. I'm always available. All right. Thanks.